So I just wanted to go over really quick our internal messaging system and just kind of introduce you briefly to the team by their names at least. So this is Output Messenger. You may see it on your bottom of your computer with three little dots, a red, a green, and a blue, kind of triangle shaped. This is our internal communication system. We also do have remote employees. Not everyone is based in a single office. Um, the workers that work actually physically in the Milwaukee office are listed under MKE, which is short for Milwaukee. I am Carrie. Dana Bennett, she works with the rate confirmations and customer service and anything the operations she does. She helps out all over the place. Debbie is in accounts receivable. She does all the invoicing after the loads are moved. Denise is our customer service representative during Monday through Friday. She answers all the incoming emails from our customers. She also helps solve problems with the load planners. She is also going to be your main point of contact on a Friday evening to Saturday morning shift. She will, unless she's on vacation, which we will notify you ahead of time, she will always be your go-to person on a Friday evening. Rochelle Matthews is she is my right hand. She helps me with payroll. She helps me with a lot of stuff that I have to make sure gets done. She does the preliminary work for me, and she also does help with rate confirmations as well. Shelly is also in accounts receivable. Her and Debbie work as a team to get everything invoiced out. Val is the owner and president of Real Transport. Our two remote employees who actually are work in Chicago, Illinois, are Angel and Bogdan, or Bo for short. Angel and Bogdan are going to be alternating weekends to be your go-to person for any questions in regards to like a driver stuck or redirection of a driver. And that schedule will be once we determine that everything is ready to go, we will hand you their schedule and who to contact on which weekend. But they are mainly functioning load planners. They communicate with drivers, they plan loads, they dispatch the loads to the drivers. And then here you are. I apologize. Am I pronouncing your name wrong? Is it Eliza or Alyssa?
That is Eliza.
Eliza. Okay, I apologize. I've been mispronouncing your name. Then we have Ivy, Jonah, Nicole, and Nina. Everybody, you're all online and you have the availability to communicate with anybody on our team. Once you go offline, you'll be put into the offline category. So this is everybody that also is employed with us, but they're not working currently. Eugene is our safety director. You will be getting his telephone number to call in the event that a driver emails or calls you stating he was in an accident. All you would need to do is refer to the driver to Eugene and also maybe place a call to Eugene explaining that the driver was in an incident, and then he will take it from there. Mary Green is our after hours support. She basically does what you will be doing on the weekend, but she does it Monday through Thursday from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. And you will be working, I believe, Monday and Tuesday probably alongside her. Slava, I'm not sure is if you met Slava or had the opportunity, but he is the one that helped get everybody's computer set up. He works on our IT department. Tim is our accountant, and he makes sure that everything is in order for us. We then have chat rooms. So basically, the chat rooms is members of that particular department. So Debbie, myself, and Shelly are all in the accounts receivable chat room. Operations is pretty much everybody. You are actually all included in the operations chat room. So anything that may, happen with the load, or there's something, a note that would needs to be dropped in regards to um, anything really, questions, concerns, anything that's happening, something maybe you don't understand can be placed, you can type in this chat room, and somebody in this chat room will be able to assist you and confirm if you're telling them information as well, that they received your information. We do have a planners chat room, which is basically just Bogdan, Angel, myself, and Denise to aid um, in getting loads picked up, ETAs, and all of that. And then the safety is me, Denise, and Eugene, our safety director. So this afternoon we are going to work closely with Bogdan, because Bogdan this afternoon is going to be um, updating drivers with us. So I want to make sure that we stay in communication with him, so we're not working over each other. So um, we still don't have much communication coming through for the drivers. So what we're going to do right now, until we see a couple emails come through that we can start updating drivers, is walk through our intermodal boxes here that you have visual on, and then just walk through and explain what you may see here. The driver dispatch at Rail Transport is the email communication between load planners and drivers. You should never find any communication comes through this email from customers. We separate the two communications to make it easier and make the inboxes not so overwhelming with hundreds of emails. There's not many folders in this driver dispatch folder. The only other folder or subfolder that you need to worry about in the driver dispatch is the archive, because we do keep and archive driver emails for approximately 3 months. We do this for payroll purposes as well as potential repair invoice purposes, so we can see the direct line of communication in case there is any discrepancies, for example, on their payroll or what they were dispatched. And then usually after the 3 month time frame, Slava or myself goes through and then deletes those emails to make room for more emails. Our real.intermodal box is where you're going to be receiving customer communications. This is where you will be seeing rate confirmations sent over. This is where you'll be seeing customers requesting ETAs. This is where you will be communicating with our customers from. Basically, any previous communication that we've had with the customers is searchable, so you can continue the chain of communication. So there's not 10 emails about the same load on 10 different emails. We try to keep it on the same chain to limit the amount of space our emails are taking up. So this is where all the communication with the customers, also the railroads, meaning rail notifications may come over on on this email. BNSF notifies us when deliveries are available at the rail through real.intermodal. It'll just come to the main box. So this is real.intermodal. That's the customer service email. There are some subfolders in this email box in particular. Because of the way that our duties are divided, we have created some, for example, Dana, she is the one that enters rate confirmations during the day. So she does not get in the way of Denise replying and emailing to our customers. During the day, we tend to move the rate confirmations to these three subfolders. So Dana has a firsthand visual of the work that she needs to do instead of trying to pick it out of the 50, 60, 70 emails that are coming over from different customers. So Denise usually just kind of moves it into this folder for Dana so she knows exactly what she needs to do and just keeps the process rolling of putting the rate confirmations on. We do have it separated between KBX. We separated KBX just because, remember when we were looking at these, they come over with the two emails for one load. It's easier then to identify what's the bill, what's the Raycon, and the load numbers versus commingling them with all the other rate confirmations. We just found it a more smoother process to do it that way. And then the A pending rate confirmations is every other customer besides KBX. The rate confirmations will go in here for Dana to um, put on the TMS for us during the day. When you're on shift, feel free, if things are crazy busy and hectic, to move it out of your way and put it in these folders until you have a few minutes to go back and start entering rate confirmations. As long as you remember to go back and put on the rate confirmations. You can also leave them out on the real.intermodal box if it's more helpful for you. The volume of email traffic during your shifts is not going to be as heavy as it is Monday through Friday from 7 until 5. We do get a high volume of emails going through. This is why we did create this kind of procedure, but I do not see even half of that volume come over with the shifts that you will be helping with. We do have a couple other folders here. COFC is a container owner. So when we were tracing and putting on containers, do you know the container numbers that started with CFQU? COFC is the owner of those containers, and we do have communication once in a while with them. And the communications that we do have with them, we usually single out just due to the fact that we move a high volume of their containers, and it's just easier to reference back to if we need to in a subfolder. Incoming faxes. So there is a folder labeled faxes. Any incoming fax is automatically hitting this subfolder. You would, or you should, never see it on the actual inbox in the real.intermodal. The only way you would know if there is an incoming fax is by the number of the highlighted number here. So there's 16 unread faxes in this folder. What kind of faxes do we get? We get rail notifications via fax. So for example, we get Norfolk Southern, CN Harvey, and CSX Bedford Park rail notifications into our fax folder. Why is this important? You can get information that you might be missing from the rate confirmation. Well, that's just sales there. So here is a notification from CN Harvey. It will actually provide to you like the rail pickup number if it happens to be missing from our system. And it will also, some of them do tell you the parking location, some of them do not, but this is actually telling you that this is available at CN Harvey for pickup. So these are mainly the faxes that we get. We do get some, solicitations or sales faxes, but all rail notifications from the rails will hit our faxes. this is an example of a rail notification from NS 47th Street. So basically what we would do is just make sure, can't copy and paste that window. So EMH 2722507, I entered it, I went to the search screen, I entered it into the trailer number. Now I have several options to choose from here, but if I look at it date-wise, I can see that my first option was last year. So we're looking for something current and we're looking for a delivery. So we would go in there and this has already been delivered, but we would just, if we needed to populate the rail pickup number, we could do it from here. Or if a team member during the day neglected to put it in there and you might be looking for the rail pickup number because the driver called stating he didn't have it, this could be a very good place to go to try to locate that rail pickup number for the driver. We get very few of those phone calls because the team is really good at giving all the information to the driver and confirming it before they leave for the day. But there are times that, you know, somebody does forget. We all make mistakes. So this would be one source for you to go to find the rail pickup number as well as asking the customer. We do have some subfolders for KBX. Every morning we do send KBX, our one of our main customers, a yard check of what kind of empties we have sitting at their facilities. This is not anything I would expect any of you to do. I just wanted to give a little background behind the folders. Claims would be anything that they're stating was transported and damaged. This is something that you would not be responsible for. KBX load completed status changes. Whenever we do, we get our orders from KBX at least 2, 3, 4 days in advance. So we have orders, as you can see, all of these are all KBX. And I can tell that because I'm hovering over it and I'm looking at line 11 and I can see that my customer is KBX. So whenever one of these loads are ready, you will be receiving an email looking like this, and then we will process that accordingly. I think we touched base on this once before, but if you want me to do it one more time, we can. And then once that email is processed, we do save them for a short period of time into the KBX load completed. So once you're done processing the email, you can either go to your quick steps and move it. Which mine is not set up. To the KBX completed loading and hit OK, and it'll automatically move it over to you. You may also have quick steps up here as well. Or you can right click it and hit move here and move it to the folder. I do not recommend you picking it up and dragging it over. What tends to happen then is that the subfolders disappear if you happen to grab it accidentally. So I would use one of 3 ways to move the actual email itself. KBX reservations. Every morning, we receive an allotment of COFC or the CFQUs reservations to pull empties from Chicago. The email will come over looking like this. It's always from our customer KBX, and everything attached is a reservation or a pickup number. Those, in this case, those two terms are interchangeable because, you know, the driver has to give them a reference number, a reservation release, or a pickup number to take anything from a shipper and from a depot. So actual reservation itself looks like this. Then we do record it on the after hours sheet, and then we dispatch out the equipment. We dispatch the equipment as we need it and enter it into the TMS. So you will be receiving these emails on Saturday morning. You may see it on a Sunday. If we need more equipment than if we have more loads than the equipment that we have, you may get them on Sunday, but it's very rare that we ask equipment to be filled on a Sunday. So it's mainly going to be a Saturday that you'll see this email come over. Well, that's just two. So basically how we record these is we go to the after hours sheet. And there is a tab on the after hours sheet that's labeled KBX interchanges. On this sheet, you're going to see that it's sectioned off into 3 separate pieces. Let us go to today's. I know it's today's because I look for the date in column G. So columns A through C are basically the first portion is where they're sitting at with the fuel. So you remember when I mentioned that we don't put the rates in there because once the load is all picked up or all delivered, you're going to get another rate confirmation for that load and with the adjusted fuel. So this is the way we can see, okay, the rate confirmation came over with the appropriate fuel for KBX because they're sitting at 31.5%. So if the load moved for $650, the fuel should be 204. And then the rate confirmation would reflect that appropriate rate. We would then enter the rate into the system and that load is good to go to be invoiced out. The second portion for KBX is what the status events that they need in their portal. There is 4 status events that always need to be updated to reflect in what status that load is in for KBX. And once we start updating drivers, we will walk through on how to update their portal utilizing this little chart of their status events. Right here, when we did touch on the base rail cuts for KBX, these are the rail cuts that they expect us to hit. So how you would read this, if we have a KBX load going to Texas, where do we have one here? There's one. So we have a load here going to Texas that engates Corwith, right? Texas via Corwith. So this is Texas via Corwith. We're expected to ingate this load by 8 p.m. the day of the pickup. And then it goes accordingly. Oregon lanes via Cicero are to ingate by 6 p.m. That should actually read California, not LA. California loads going to Willow Springs should be ingated by 10 p.m. UT would be Utah, going back to Global 2, ingate rail Global 2. Our rail cutoff is 6 p.m. Pennsylvania destinations, ingating back to Bedford Park, CSX Bedford Park. We need to ingate by midnight of the day of pickup. and any loads going to Maine or Connecticut on the CSX Bedford Park ramp, the gate cut is 3 a.m. the next day of pickup. So this is where the team kind of used the rail cutoffs. And this is kind of the hot ones that I'll be honest with you, we always cannot make rail cut because something, the load might not have been ready in time. The driver had a tire issue. The equipment wasn't secured. But the main lanes that they watch are the Texas to Corwith and the Connecticut loads. And these are the loads that we try to make sure that no fail that we make rail cut. But this is where the rail cut information is stored for the KBX lanes. The second section is also, does everybody know like what interchange means? So what happens when we interchange a container? So let's say that we are doing a delivery. Let me pick this one. So Genty today did a delivery to Sturtevant, Wisconsin for our customer Traffics. When Genty is empty, Genty is going to go to Georgia Pacific with that empty. But that customer that we're moving Georgia Pacific for, whether it's a live load or a drop and hook, is KBX. So what we need to do is take that container from Traffics and tell the rail, hey, this container is now being used for KBX. So we are interchanging it, transferring usage from Traffics to KBX, and that's called an interchange. So what we need to do though is we need to process that interchange at a certain point to show the new to show which customer is now using that container to the owners of the container, whether the owner is a rail yard or whether the owner is COFC. There's two different processes for those two types of boxes that we can definitely get into when we start updating drivers, because it will be a process when we start to update drivers to be able to interchange the containers. We track COFC separately because whenever a container is interchanged from one customer to a second customer, it triggers a new reservation number, and we need to track the reservation numbers for KBX for rail billing purposes. You may receive emails from KBX asking, what reservation number do you show for this container? And this is one of the two ways that you'll be able to find that reservation number. We also do log on the spreadsheet who performed the interchange, just so we have a reference of who do we go back to if there was any questions or if it was interchanged wrong or if it's not showing interchanged at all. We have a reference of which team member did it so we can go back and ask questions or ask what happened. Just questions. We just have a reference. Now, this last part of the sheet is where we put those reservations that we get on the emails. So I put these on this morning when we got them. The initial information that I put on was the depot that we're supposed to be pulling the empty from, and that's listed partially down on the email reservation where it says Origin Depot. So United Shippers is our Origin Depot. I abbreviated to save space on the spreadsheet, but you also can put United Shipper. Everybody enters it in a little different way on this sheet. Just depends on how much time, I guess, we have. But it's apparent either way that it's United Shipper. The other depot you might see is Cub Yard, and we just indicate that by Cub. Then in the next column goes the actual reservation number. The reservation number, again, is the number that the driver is going to need to get out of the depot with an empty container. And that is located in a few places on this email. It's in the subject line here, where I have it blue highlighted, and it's also in the top right there. I tend to like to copy and paste it from here just so there's clarity and there's, you don't have to go through the entire email to look for it. This will always be your reservation number here. And here it also container reservation, and this is the number that you're looking for. And then that in the morning when you populate it on a Saturday, while you're processing this email, you should just have the 2 columns here. As you can see, as the day went on, the planners dispatched it to the drivers, and as the drivers outgated, they populated the container number that was attached then to that reservation. So it looks like now they're starting to plan the rest of the drivers to for probably tomorrow with the rest of these bookings, reservations for COFC containers, and we have 3 left to dispatch for the day. All right. Once that email is processed, we then do keep the reservations on hand and push them to the subfolder KBX reservations. Reason we do that is we do often get communication either from COFC or KBX stating, hey, did you receive this information? I do not show that you pulled a container against this reservation. We get it quite frequently during the normal week, Monday through Friday. And this is our go-to to see if we actually receive the confirmation or the reservation. We can confirm, okay, did we receive it or did we miss putting it on the sheet? If we missed putting it on the sheet, then we make sure that we pull it out ASAP. But then if we didn't get it, we can confirm, was this reservation meant for us, real transport? So that is one email you will be working with on Saturday mornings. KBX Track Reel, that is an adventure that we did a while back. There's really nothing you need to do with that folder, nor would anything be pushed to that folder in the near future. We were running different types of containers for KBX. However, we did discontinue those containers, moving those containers. Rail notifications. Now, we do receive most of the rail notifications over the the real intermodal email box. Um, However, there are a few customers, actually only one customer, the Hub Group, where they consistently send transit reports and rail notifications, but their notifications go directly to the rail notification folder. Typically, the BNSF rail notifications and the Union Pacific notifications will first come to the intermodal inbox for you to review and process. And then we move it then to the rail notification folder. We keep these on hand for a few weeks just to make sure there's no charges that come back. Charges that could come back would be, okay, this has been sitting at the rail, were you ever notified? We go back to see if we were notified on it or not, because we do not want to pay any storage charges, parking charges for it being at the ramp too long. The one thing that I've asked the team to start doing just recently is just when we do get these rail notifications from the BNSF and from the UP is to just verify that we have that container on our system for a future date. Only because what we're finding, and especially when we recently changed email addresses, that we have been missing getting rate confirmations, and this is one way to double check to make sure that we do have everything on the board that we're supposed to. So basically what I did is I hit search and I just entered the container number in there. And I can see, okay, on 417, we do have a delivery with that container number. So we have this load, we don't need to worry about it. Now, you can, at this point, go in and trace the load, right, to get the parking location and the last free day. They do come over with all the pertinent information we need, with the exception of the chassis number. BNSF never does not notify us what chassis that the container is sitting on. We do need to keep records of what chassis are associated with what containers, because we do get, um there's two reasons. One is we do get potential repair bills for those chassis if it was damaged in our possession. And the second reason is if the driver were to call in and say, I just blew a tire, I need service. We already have his chassis number in our system because you'll need that chassis number to call for service. But we already have that available to make it easier on the driver to only give us then the tire size and position that he needs to be repaired. So it's important that we do track chassis. If they were to put them on these rail notifications, we wouldn't have to log into the website at all, but unfortunately they do not. So we would still need to go into the website at this point, or when you're due for tracing your loads to populate that chassis. But as you can see, it does list the parking location, which we have in our system, lot 803. It does list the last free day of 418, which is in our system. And it does verify the pickup number for us, which is correct in our system. Um, we do have a subfolder for all our repairs. This is for his this is for record or history. If we do get billed back for the repair that we had to call for the road, then we can see the events of the repair. So we keep these separated to make sure that they don't get deleted, because we do receive repair bills 4 to 5 months after the repair service. So it's in our best interest to file them in a different subfolder so they don't accidentally get deleted. And then the next important folder is going to be your archive. Just like driver dispatch, we do archive all of our customer communications for 3 months in the event that we do have to go back and find out what happened with the load, or why are they maybe not paying detention, like, and then for whatever reason, we do archive all of our emails to our customers for 3 months. So after you're done processing processing an email of communicating with our drivers, just go ahead and push the archive button. I don't know if you have an archive button on your Outlook that looks like this. You can also make a quick step, or you can also right click and hit move, and your archive, one of your options here should be archive. And then after 3 months, either Slava or myself will go through and then delete those archived emails so we can make more room for more communications with our customers. So, does anybody have any questions? All right.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
So it looks
Yeah.
like our planners are starting to send out dispatches for Thursday. So this is what a dispatch would look like to a driver. Traditionally their name is in the subject, and then every planner does it different. Some just put Thursday, some will put Thursday 4/17 to have more clarity. But basically this Nazar is being dispatched to take an empty CFQU to live load up in SOAR converting tomorrow. So now what's going to happen is this email is going to stay out on the driver dispatch folder until Nazar confirms that he is good for work. So for example, Leo was dispatched Thursday to do a delivery from Cicero. Oh, the team just moved it. To do a delivery from Cicero to Oconto for 9 a.m. And Leo confirmed he got it. Thank you. So then both of these emails get archived, and then we confirm on the after hours sheet that the driver received his work for the next day. So we look for Leo. And then he moved it, but he should have marked. So when he sends it, he'll put sent. Once the driver emails us back and says, I got it, or confirmed, thank you, we change that status to sent and confirmed. S is for sent, C is for confirmed. So just by looking at this after hours sheet, I can see that Nick has already been sent his work and he's already confirmed it with the S and the C's there. So it looks like they're just starting to plan and dispatch for tomorrow. On the after hours sheet, you see the ends here. That means this is what their plan is, but they haven't sent it yet, so it could change. When you're working your shifts, I am hoping that you will never see a no there. Everything should be sent and confirmed so everybody knows what they're doing, and it would be no work or extra phone call to one of the load planners on duty to find out what is going on. So let's see if we can ask Bogdan if we can do. What is Sergey doing today? How do you like that picture? That's a picture of one of our new drivers. It's a portion of his CDL.
I'm Carrie.
Yeah.
I do have a quick question though. In regards about that, I think folder in Outlook where it indicates as the dispatch. Are we also gonna be working on that? Because I'm actually accessing the is this the real intermodal account right now? And the only folder that's showing here, not sure if also applicable to everyone, but only under real intermodal at real transport.
Would you mind if we switch and you can show me what you're looking at so I
Sure.
have a better understanding?
Yeah, sure. Can you see my screen?
Yep, it says there we go. Okay, so what was, there you go. Now, so hit the arrow key right before the inbox there. Do you see that little arrow? Yep. So this expands all the folders. So your main inbox is going to be, you want to pretty much stay in the inbox there. This is where you're going to see all your communication. These are the subfolders that we just went over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, in regards about my question is that I think the folder that you were opening a while ago, states here as the dispatch something. So I was asking if we are gonna be working on that or only under this real intermodal, and this is where all the communications will be coming from.
You do not have driver dispatch set up?
Only this one.
That's interesting. All right, so we just got 2 emails from Sergey. Sergey is really good about putting what it is in the subject line. Not all drivers are like that. Every driver sends information in just slightly different. We're just happy that they're sending it in, so it's hard to set a strict protocol at this point. Hopefully in the future, but not right now. We're hoping that everything can just go through the system, but that's going to be a long time coming. So what I'd like to do is walk through you how to update Sergey's BOL and chassis. We'll check to see if there's billing in place. And then depending on what type of load it is, we will go to either the portal or the email to update the customer. So the first step is to identify the driver. So Sergey Polko actually comes over as his real name. Again, I did put all the email addresses for all the drivers out on that after hours sheet that we labeled drayage specialist, so you know who you're looking for until you start getting used to the drivers. So we identified that it's Sergey. So our first step is to go to the search. The next step is to select Sergey from the driver drop-down menu. Next order of business would be to select the start and end date. If you don't select the start and end date, you are going to pull everything Sergey ever moved, touched since his career with Real Transport. If you don't put a date range in there, it'll just bring up everything that he ever was attached to. So because today is Wednesday the 16th, you're going to do your start date as the 16th and your end date as the 16th. So that way you're only looking at what Sergey is doing today. You're going to hit search and you're going to see Sergey's work. Sergey picked up in Wisconsin with an empty out. If Sergey wouldn't have been so kind as to label the subject, your first order of business to know one of 2 ways you can go about doing this. You can actually open up the documentation that Sergey sent and identify where he is at. Okay, so this is a bill of lading, and as you can see, it says Georgia Pacific, GBY plant, Packerland, Green Bay. So this is a bill, and it states on the top a bill of lading. So it also has a container number. So we can do one of 2 things. We can identify which load on our search screen we need to update by the type of information we're looking at on the paperwork he sent, or you can just go out and look to see. All right, they didn't. So the team should have updated time in and time out here, and they did not. Shame on them. We will have to have a conversation with them. But according to the documentation we're looking at, this is the load that we need to update. right? So it's looking like this is Green Bay, the addresses match. This is the paperwork and the update to our system that we need to start accomplishing. So what we do is we hit edit. We confirm the container number in our TMS is the same as on the documentation that the driver provided to us. We confirm the destination, Rancho Cucamonga, California, and that is where the final destination of the shipment is going. So basically, it's almost like a rate confirmation, the ship from and the ship to. So we're picking up at Packerland, which we confirm this is the right load because we verified the address. And the final destination after it gets off the train is Rancho Cucamonga, California, and that's what we show in our system. So we know this is the right shipment. Also, we verify to confirm it's the right shipment, the pickup number. Now the pickup number is going to be a little hard to spot because it's mixed in with the bill of lading number. But if you can see the bill of lading number, the 1794427 is mingled in here before the leading 003 and after the 003 and before the 07. You'll see the 179442. This is also how to extinguish that the driver does have the right shipment on his back. It's going to the right destination when it gets off the train. So now we need to understand what time did he leave. We update the time he left by the time he sent that BOL over to us on the email. So he sent the BOL to us at 1350. So we populate 1350. I'm not going to ask you to worry about the initials that I just typed in because that's going to be going away and it'll actually log your name when you enter it in. So we don't need to do that anymore. Then we need to populate the pieces, the weight, and the seal. So we need to read the BOL. So pieces could also be quantity. It could also be listed as packages. It's the number of items that are in the container. So for this purpose, either the 28 is how many pallets are on the container, and those pallets contain 1,236 pieces. Either one of these quantities are okay to populate in the pieces field. Okay. I usually populate the package numbers or the pieces numbers because then that 28 pallets, I just prefer to put the actual number of things in the container versus the pallets. But either way you're going to do it is going to be okay. The weight you'll find located either here or here. They should be the same, and that gets populated into the weight field. The seal number, every bill of lading, it's different. You're going to have to kind of, once you get used to seeing the bill of ladings, you'll know exactly where to look for it, but every bill of lading is going to look different. Some are real small typed and have information all over the place. And some are nice like this where it has it kind of spelled out all in one place. So you're just going to need to start really reading the bill of lading until you get used to them. Now during the weekends, this is we haul mainly for KBX. So this is the bill of lading that you will traditionally see come over to you on the weekends. You will have a few other ones, but you'll probably be so tired of looking at these and you'll be a professional in no time at reading these. The seal number is written here. I do want to forewarn you, sometimes it is not. And sometimes the driver actually just sends you a picture of the seal number. Again, every driver is different. Some will type it on an email, some will write it on the BOL, and some will send you a picture. As long as we get the seal number, that is all we need. It doesn't matter where it's located, as long as we obtain that seal number. So the loaded trailer number matches. We have his time in and we have his time out. Pieces, weight, and seal. We're missing a piece of information here. Every driver is required to send in the chassis number if we do not have it of the container that they're picking up. Again, every driver does it a little differently. Some will write it directly on the bill of lading for you. So you may see by that seal number or maybe by the container number, a handwritten chassis number. Now remember, the chassis numbers will always have 4 digits or 4 letters, and the last letter, the 4th letter, will always be a Z, and then it will have the 6 digits. So that's how you know it's a chassis number. 4 letters ending in Z and 6 numbers. Sergey sends it as a separate email that we can populate it in our system. Again, some drivers write it on the bill, some send a separate email, some will just send you a picture of the back of the loaded container. It'll verify the loaded container, and then the picture will obtain the chassis number on it as well. Okay. Now that I know that I have all information that I need from Sergey and everything matches, what we do is we need to respond to Sergey that we received all of the information that we sent. Our drivers are required to check call when they arrive and when they depart. All drivers are required to send us paperwork. All drivers are told that if we don't respond to their emails, that we did not get any information, and if they don't see a reply, they would need to call or resend their paperwork. Our responsibility is to, when we receive it, send that reply. If we're requiring the drivers to do something, we have to make sure that we are letting them know that they're doing a good job and we received everything. It is also our responsibility too that after a certain point, if we did not get their paperwork, that we need to call and ask them for it as well. So what we want to do now is just to let Sergey know, hey, thank you, we received all your information. So we reply. Obviously I'm not Mary Green. I don't know, the signature is stuck, I guess, on Mary. So there's no, you can just say received, thank you. You can say, call them by name. Always let them know what information you did receive. If you didn't receive a piece of information, here is where you would say, hi Sergey, can you please send me the chassis number? Or hey Sergey, I'm missing the seal number. Can you send that over to me? So feel free to, like, we have no template set up on how we respond. We just try to be clear in what we're asking of them and what we received from them. So now we have this email with paperwork, right? So we need to get this over to our invoicing team. So what we do next then is we will forward this paperwork going to forward it to our AR department, which their email is ardocs@realtransport. We are going to change the subject line to the customer reference or load number that we just updated, which the paperwork is associated for. And we're going to forward this over to them so they can scan it, put it in the TMS system, and then set it up for invoicing so we can get paid for the load. Once we're all done replying to Sergey and forwarding it to our AR department, we are going to hit archive. We're going to save that piece of information for 3 months. Maybe we forgot to forward it to AR. Maybe AR accidentally deleted it. Maybe whomever was updating the load updated it incorrectly. So this is why we do have all kinds of reasons that we could potentially need to go back. So we just go and we archive it, and then after a certain time frame, it will be deleted. So we already replied to Sergey that we received his chassis on one email. So we're just going to actually just archive this. Just hit your archive there if you have it, or move to archive. So then it's the visual is gone. And that, then that email is complete. The driver side of the load update is now complete. Now, how do we notify the customer? All right. So KBX actually has their own portal. So we're going to log into the KBX portal. The KBX portal is called Port. Let me. Sometimes this portal takes 2 or 3 times to get into. So don't feel that you're doing anything incorrectly, or maybe you have the wrong credentials. It takes me 2 to 3 times to get into this portal. It's like that first time it doesn't catch it. So this is what the front page of the KBX portal looks like. What you want to do is go into My Shipments. This first page is going to display every load that we have moved for KBX since this portal has become active. This is a new portal for KBX. What you're interested in doing at this point, and I don't know why I can't explain it, but where you see the BOL, this is actually the customer reference number or load number in our TMS. So you want to take that KBXI number and you want to put it in the BOL field. And then after you paste it, just let it work for just a minute and it'll pop up the load that you are trying to update. You can verify that it did pull up the correct by, comparing the KBXI number. The shipment ID number will always display the pickup number of the load, 1794427. Now we're going to go back to the KBX portal events here for just a second. So KBX is expecting 4 events for every load that we move for them. And that is at pickup, loaded in transit, at consignee, and delivered. Now for each type of load that we move for them, so whether it's a pickup or it's a delivery, the information is going to be slightly different. So we're updating a pickup, right? We know that because we just updated his load information from Green Bay going to Willow Springs. We also know that because the category is pickup. So what we need to do is, and this is where this is just a little helpful hint on what times need to be put into these different events on the portal. So for a pickup, we need to first enter an at pickup status event. That would refer to when the driver arrived or his time in. So we're going to go back to the portal and we're going to select at pickup and we're going to select his date, the date and the time that he arrived. So he arrived today. He arrived at 1:40. And then you want to hit save. The next event that KBX wants us to put is loaded in transit, which would be the equivalent to his time out or when he left Green Bay. So we want to go do the drop down menu here and change at pickup to loaded in transit. And what we want to do is place his timeout that we populated in our TMS into the calendar and the date and time field. So now the next event that they are looking for is at consignee. Now for a pickup, that is going to mean when he arrived to Willow Springs. Now, Sergey is not going to be in Willow Springs until about 5 p.m. So we can't go any further with the status updates for KBX for this load. So what we're going to do is we're going to save the information because Sergey is now loaded. We have processed his email. We forwarded the documentation to AR. We notified the customer via their portal. And the one last step that we need to do is just to go to the after-hour sheet so we can let the planner know Sergey is technically done. There should be no further expectations of receiving anything from Sergey today unless he has a tire or something on the road happens and he needs our assistance. Now, when we updated those status events, 13765, we should have received a rate confirmation with an updated fuel. But I don't see that we got it quite yet. Here it is. They pushed it already. I'm just going to push it back so you have a visual. So you'll see this updated rate confirmation come over, and it came over shortly after we updated the portal, the timing within a few minutes. So what we do then is here is where we look at it. We go back to edit it. And here right now then is the updated fuel surcharge from the original rate confirmation with the total rate that we are going to get paid for this load. So we are going to enter the total rate into the rate field at this time. We are then going to save this rate confirmation and we are going to label it uniquely because remember we labeled the original one just the load number. And we are going to label it as to why this is a new rate confirmation. So we are going to label it revised with fuel. And we are going to upload it into the TMS. Once that revised rate confirmation has been processed, the rate has been entered and uploaded to TMS. You can see now it says the original rate confirmation was there, and now the revised rate confirmation with the correct fuel is on there. We can go ahead and delete this email. Just make sure that that is uploaded to the TMS before you delete. Now, we can do one of two things at this point. What I would like to do, usually after I update, I can go back to either the front board of the system, the dashboard as we call it, and see if his has a check mark box in it. That means he's got good rail billing. If he did not have good rail billing, what we would do then is to pull the last communication for this load in the system, which it looks like it was the rate confirmation. We didn't have to communicate anything about this load, which is good. If for some reason the rail billing wasn't in place, we would pull that last communication. We would change the subject line to what the email is about. So we need rail billing, right? The load number is already in the subject as well as the shipper facility. And then we would ask, good afternoon, please put rail billing in place. And then we would send them the details of the load. We have the availability to, if you're in the view side, to copy, paste all the load details that they may need to get rail billing in place. We provide them the trailer number, the time in, the time out, the pieces, the weight, the seal. And because this was a drop and hook, we provide them also with the empty container that we dropped for the load. Now there is one thing, if there is no communication other than the original rate confirmation, you will need to change the to. If you can see here, it says no reply at port. That means their system sent this to us, and that this is not, if we send this to the email, this email to that email address, it's not going to go anywhere. So we need to change it to the customer email, which is kbxintermodal@kbxlogistics.com. Then we would hit send. And then that would be our rail billing request off to the customer. So that was our first driver update. Do you have any questions so far?
None for now, Carrie.
Okay. So what is, let me get with Bogdan and see if he'll allow us to update Eager here. Make sure he's not jumping on it. Why can I? So Eager, you can tell. Okay, so Eager also has an email that's very straightforward. The thing with Eager is you will need to. We have had and still do have a couple Igors in the system. So if you cannot find a driver by their first name, definitely start looking for their last name. So I could not pull him up under Eager, but I can pull him up under his last name, Mariutc, Mariuticus. So we're going to search by him by today's date. And Eager also picked up an empty and went up to Green Bay West Mill. So another requirement, I should say, it's one of many, for this particular account up in Georgia Pacific, and this would also include the Pier Warehouse, the driver is required to send us pictures of the front and the back of the containers that they drop. It's a kind of a protection for us as a company that they're dropping good order equipment and nobody else is damaging the equipment on site. Also, when there's discrepancies in container numbers, it's helpful since they're sending pictures of the container, the front and the back of the container. The container number and the chassis is always visible. They should be always visible on the pictures the driver sends. Now, we're taking a look at this picture. So we're seeing that he dropped this container, 622494. He dropped it. He's not hooked up to it anymore. It's in a parking spot. This container corresponds with the container that he took out of United Shipper this morning. So we're going to copy and paste that. If the container number was not in the subject line already, then we would place the container number in the subject. We do this so it's easily searchable if we ever need to find the picture again. Outlook cannot read the picture to find the container in the picture, so we need to change the subject line of the email to put the container number in, and then save that new subject. Does everybody know how to change the subject and save it on an email?
Not familiar with that one.
Okay, so if you open the email, not to reply, but just to view, okay, you can put your cursor on the current subject line, can delete that information, and you can enter in okay, so you entered in a new subject, and to save that, all you have to do is X out, and it's going to ask you changed the subject line. Do you want to save it? And you just hit yes. And then now that subject line is changed. And then going forward, it will be searchable by any team member if by chance we need that picture ever again. Then we do reply because, like I said, we need to keep in communication with the drivers. And then we send it off. And then we just we take that container number and we put it into the drop trailer field into the pickup. When the drivers send this picture, it's basically like their check-in, I arrived at the facility. So we're going to put Eager's time in as 14:24 that he arrived. And then we're going to save this information, and then we're going to wait for the bill of lading. Now, some drivers are different. Eager's going to send this to me, and in probably maybe about 20 minutes, he's going to send me the BOL, and then that would be his timeout. The time lapse is due to he just got his paperwork for his pickup container of the 217616. He's doing his pre-trip inspection to make sure that that chassis can be driven down the road. And then once everything is set and once everything is good, he's going to send me the bill of lading and say, okay, I'm taking this, I'm going to take it to Corwith. Here's the bill of lading. Now, I do have other drivers that will do all of that and then send all of the paperwork after the fact. Like I said, every driver is different. It also sometimes has to do with their internet providers on their tablets or cell phones. So there may be a delay at some point in getting the information, or it may all come over in one group. But don't feel overwhelmed. They're not trying to overwhelm you. It's just every driver has their own way of doing it.
Carrie?
Yes.
Yeah, good question in regards about that type of situation. If like at such time that when drivers would be doing that, so it doesn't really matter in regards about the time in and time out.
The timeout is the most important. Okay. The timeout I would always put when you receive the bill of lading. If you receive everything, the drop picture, the bill of lading, the chassis, all at the same time, for these drop and hook accounts, you could just backdate the time in approximately 30 minutes because it takes 30 to 45 minutes to get your inspection done, to get the paperwork and everything situated. For these GP West Mill drop and hook accounts, the timeout is the most priority. The time in can be played with from 30 minutes to 45 minutes.
I see. Thank you for that.
That's a very good question. Thank you for asking. Once we responded and recorded all of that, we then once again just moved the email to archive. So now we are going to wait for our next driver. It's a little slow this afternoon. Everybody must have been early. Everybody's either going to be early or late. So what is Ian doing today? So back out on the intermodal box, it looks like we're getting a lot of rate confirmations to keep Dana busy today. Again, usually protocol is for the CS to move all of these over to the Dana's work boxes. Basically, that's Dana's inbox to-do list. Oops. So let's ask Bogdan. All right. So John B is John B. Let's see who John B is. Let's go to our cheat sheet here. Let's look at our email addresses. I think we need to add that one. So this particular driver uses 2 email systems. So we call this particular driver because he just updated his name to John. So this is why it might be a little confusing. His name is John Bedreau. He just changed his first name from Ian to John. So this is why you may see an email from him coming from Ian, or you may see an email coming from John. But he is listed as John in our system by his new name. What is John doing today? What kind of documentation did John send over? All right. So John sent over what it looks like is a interchange sheet, or something that we call a J1 outgate. You may hear that term too. J1 or interchange report is meaning that this is our receipt for securing a container. This happens to be an outgate receipt for an empty that he took out of United Shipper. We can tell that it's a COFC box by the COFC Logistics. Okay. And the yard location is handwritten in the corner here that says United. So this must pertain to John's empty out from United Shipper. So we know he's not up in Walworth yet. We also know that there's no container populated in his empty out yet. So this has got to be the paperwork he's submitting for this portion of his work today. So what we want to do is we want to edit, and we want to enter the container number that he pulled. Again, COFC is always CFQUs. And usually the fields are set up already with the 4 letters in it. So all you will need is to update the numbers of the container. We will then update the chassis. The chassis number is UPHZ 15675. That could either be a 0 or a 2. Now, when we have receipts like this, we usually we always ask the drivers to send pictures of the container so we can verify it, because you can see the handwriting starts out neat and then it kind of gets messier as it goes on. So we just want to be sure that, you know, everything is correct and we're recording the correct container, because this could directly affect rail billing. later today or even tomorrow. So what we're going to do after we finish processing this is ask John if he didn't already beat us, is to send us a picture of the container. So we are going to confirm that the pickup number he used, which was also reservation number that was populated on the KBX sheet earlier today, matches what we have in our TMS, and 604-614-130. So it matches. We then want to save this with the container number that's on the J1. We want to label it. We usually label it J1 out. You can label it empty out. And then we finish it off with the reservation number that he pulled it out underneath. He pulled it out with from the depot. We save that, and then we upload it to the TMS. The next step when we receive a COFC, let's first go back and see if Ian sent us any pictures. So I want to email John about sending us a picture, because that chassis number for me was a little unclear and I want to verify it. What I'm going to do is send him a picture, and I'm going to copy in driver dispatch for a visual cue for myself to know that in like 15-20 minutes I need to call him and just to confirm then what that chassis number is. Okay. And then we are going to archive this email. Whenever you get an empty out slip for any CFQU containers, we do need to email COFC. So you will create a new email. I'm thinking we will need to make sure that you guys have all of the pertinent email addresses for customers' contacts for the shifts that you're working at, because they may not be the same as the daytime shifts. So we'll have to get that together for you as well. So in your subject line, you want to put the container number, and you want to put the reservation number, and you want to attach that J1 that you put into our TMS. So basically what we're asking COFC to do is to take that empty container our driver just pulled and attach it to that reservation. We're providing them proof that that was the container number. And the reason we're asking them to attach it to that reservation number, so that when this container gets loaded, it can be rail billed right away. When rail billing CFQUs, our customer needs that container attached to a reservation number. Before we started to do this procedure, we were getting emails, about 20 emails a day from our customer asking us, what is the reservation number for this container? What is the reservation number for that container? So what we decided to do is starting to do it up front to make it easier for our customer, which in turn will make it easier for us later on. So whenever a driver does pull out an empty CFQU, we do email them the J1, and we do ask them to attach the reservation. and they usually respond pretty quick, and they usually respond assigned, and then that we're done. It's all taken care of, and once that container is loaded, rail billing should not have no issues being put into place. So what I want to do then is just go update my load planner, even though his load planner told us to update him, and he already did. Has empty on the way. ETA for pickup is 5:30. So the load planner beat us to it, but this is a note that we would have put on the system as well on the after hour sheet. So anyone that is inquiring as to where John's whereabouts is, or maybe what the ETA to Walworth is, we can stop here and take a look and reply to the customer what the load planner or whomever updated the load provided to us as a team. May I put you on a brief hold?
Of course.
My apologies on that. Uh, 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 uh.
Hey, Carrie, this is Shauna. I
Hi,
have a quick
Shauna.
question for you.
Mhm.
You're doing a great job, by the way. Like a college professor with
My goodness.
lecturing all day.
I feel like I'm forgetting everything, so you got to bear with me.
You're doing great. It's a lot of material to cover, so but we're
It
really
is.
just taking notes, and I just wanted to ask you on your Excel sheet, the after hours sheet, would it be possible to I was trying to see column I. Is there a way for you to freeze the top header so that when you scroll down, we can see what each column is? Is that possible?
Yeah.
I was trying to see what column I was with the maybe it's not the after hours. Where you were just at, there was a column I where it had Y and N for yes and no. Oh yeah, right there, the intermodal sheet.
Okay, so I see what this is. So this is actually hidden, I think, right now. Do you see it now?
Can you scroll over to column I? Oh, the column is frozen. Okay, I see. The header column. What is the header for column I where you have the Y and the N?
The Y and the N. Okay.
No.
Okay, so the column header for basically what this is indicating is, let's go back to John, whom we just recorded the empty out. So in reading this, okay, so this is today. Column F is today. And John, this tells us what John is doing today. So John is taking an empty CFQU, which we just updated, and he's taking this empty CFQU to do a pickup in Walworth, Wisconsin. This
Okay.
Y indicates this line is done. Yes, He delivered, he picked up his empty. Is he done? Yes. This line indicates, did he do Walworth yet? Is he finished with Walworth? No. This will also potentially indicate we still need to check rail billing on it as well. It's another discount and double check that it may need rail billing, just as long as the same with the check marks on the dispatch system. But the no would indicate that he did not complete his run yet.
Got it.
And then further explanation. And if you start looking at this with me, like in the morning, it's going to give you more like driver's ETA is this, driver's ETA to delivery is, 10 a.m. And then once he's done with that delivery, we'll place a Y in the column, and then it'll be like ETA to Green Bay is 5. So, I mean, this has more information, in the morning as loads and moves and drivers start doing what they're supposed to be doing, versus like right now at 3 o'clock, drivers are starting to get completing their work, or maybe just starting if they're late starters. So this will also tell you, we do indicate which drivers are not working today, so we don't have to worry about them at the end of the day. Or our after hours uses this J column to gauge how busy she's going to be.
Okay.
Like if this driver's done and this driver's done, but she sees that this driver is still on the way for delivery, so she knows to expect something from Andrew Cooley during her shift. Eager is still on his way to delivery, and she needs to expect something on her shift from Eager. So this is her gauge on the volume of activity and which drivers that she will be getting.
Okay.
Whereas
does she ever filter the sheet, like filter out all the dones and just kind of scroll with what she has to work with? Or does she just keep it in this view?
our after hours, she usually downloads it and does what she does with it. She either downloads it or prints it on her, and she tends to work as more manual paper hands-on than digital technology per se. Before everybody comes back to shift, she has it all updated with the correct information, but her way of working is tending to track with paper and pencil until everything is done.
And then she updates everything for the next shift.
Then she'll update everything for the next shift.
Okay.
But you can sort it, you can filter it, you can hide columns if it works better for you. I just ask you not to delete, obviously, because we do keep this as a record. We do keep notes on here, as you can see, this one column here. These are all the lanes that drivers don't run or can't run. We have a few, due to their religious beliefs, can't transport alcohol. Some drivers cannot go into certain facilities because they've been banned for whatever reason. So these are our working notes.
Okay. Somebody stomped their feet at a warehouse or.
Yeah, well, it happens, right?
Yeah.
So.
And then each day there will be a new tab that's created for that specific day. And that
is correct.
Is our team going to have to do that for the next shift, create a tab for the next day?
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't expect them to. Technically, what was this weekend's date? The 12th? So basically, you're going to be, the team is going to be looking at a spreadsheet in a much a lot larger expansion during the weekend, because the weekend is going to be set up already for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So
Gotcha.
everything is going to be in place for them. And like I said, hiding columns when Friday and Friday night is done, please hide K through F so you're not swimming in too much information. You know, sometimes information is great except for when it gets overwhelming, right? So, you know, you can hide K through F if it's easier than your just visual is Saturday, Sunday, Monday, because this is actually what you're working on and this is what the team laid down. So, you know, this is RIT. Let me see if I can get them to help with this driver dispatch.
Okay, great.
Mary, are you still with us?
I am here. I'm just muted.
Hey, Mary, that I did just speak with Slava, and Slava is asking to speak with you. Would you be able to just jump on a call with him? You have his cell phone, correct?
I'll call him directly. I'll mute myself back.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So just filter, sort, hide, whatever's going to make it easier for the team to understand what's going on. If you want to, you know, this is, I don't know if you're familiar with Google, you could actually even download it, a copy of this yourself. It's very easy, simple download. You go into your file, and you just hit download and it'll ask you how you want to download it in Excel or PDF. And then if you want to download it in Excel, and then, you know, play with it so it suits how you understand it or a better understanding for yourselves. Or I am not opposed to even changing this to help you, but I would need feedback as how we could better change this to help the team to be successful. Hello, did I lose everybody?
Yeah, that would be great, Carrie.
Okay.
Thanks, Carrie.
So how is everybody? Is everybody tired? As we pushed a lot of information today.
Little
Yeah,
digest.
So Jamie,
Yes, Carrie.
is Jamie. So it looks like we are getting into a portion of the day where we're not going to get many driver updates probably until after the fact. So what is your thinking? We touched on a little bit of driver updates, kind of dabbled in it a little bit. Slava and Mary are working on the driver dispatch email to make sure by tomorrow we get set up What do you think about adjourning until tomorrow morning, and then we'll dive right into all the driver updates. I guarantee you tomorrow morning we are going to have a lots to do.
I think that sounds like a plan, because right now, I also honestly think everyone's overwhelmed with all the information.
For sure.
Yeah, but
I'm
tomorrow morning,
overwhelmed with all the information myself, so don't feel bad, okay? Nobody feel bad. It's a lot.
it is.
And we can do this every day until you guys are comfortable and don't feel so overwhelmed. I just ask each and every one of you to please ask questions. Stop me if I'm not being clear, because I truly want to set each and every one of you up for success. Okay. I want you to be happy. I want you to understand what you're doing. I want you to understand why you're doing it. So stop me in my tracks if you have any questions or I'm not explaining anything clear enough. So I'm here for you. I want to be successful with you. So
We truly appreciate all the efforts, Carrie. I mean, I think you were able to like explain them on spot on, like step by step. I mean, I'm just so grateful that you're doing this for us too. Yeah, tomorrow we can reconvene and start with the driver updates, because I think more hands-on training, like probably we can have the team do it themselves, and then probably have you guide them in the back end, because I know they'll definitely learn much if they do more hands-on training on this one.
absolutely. I would just feel comfortable getting through maybe 2 more examples of something that they would never see and then have them take it from there. So, okay, so what time would you like to start? 10 o'clock works for you?
Yeah, I think it's same time tomorrow, and then stop by lunch, same as what we did a while ago, and then reconvene after.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Carrie.
Yeah, you too, everybody. You have a good rest of your day.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Carrie.
Thank you,
Carrie.
Carrie. Do the same.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, Carrie.